Hello and welcome to Conservative Roundtable. I am Marianne Collins-King, your host for this evening's event, and thank you so much for joining us. As we know, the political landscape at this point in time for us conservatives has changed. We must say and serve our condolences to the Scalia family. This past Saturday, Honorable Antonin Scalia had passed away. He passed away in his sleep. And at this point in time, we send peace and condolences on behalf of Conservative Roundtable. Mr. Scalia was a man of faith, character, and he was one who continually upheld the Constitution. This is going to be a man that is going to be sorely missed by the United States of America and by his family. And with this, as well as conservatives, our main hope is that the new justice will be appointed in due time and a reasonable and respectable amount of time. Moving forward, something positive, the Pope is in Mexico. This is something that many of us conservatives are very happy about. In fact, many of my friends are visiting with the Pope at this point in time. They will be back in the Fresno area with their various stories about the Pope and the adventures, speaking with him. And it is a blessed time. Moving forward, we have quite an evening for you this evening. We have some outstanding guests. Our guests today are Clint Olivier. He is from the Fresno City Council, District 7, and he is currently in the race for the California State Assembly in the 31st District. We will also be speaking with Gonzalo Ferrer and Steve Von Loor of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. And thirdly, we will be speaking with Fernando Romero via Skype. He is the president of Hispanics in Politics. We're off to a break now. Stay tuned.
Deported U.S. military veterans. It almost sounds like an oxymoron, but believe it or not, a large number of former military service men and women have been deported. Tonight in a Fox 40 special report, Joe Khalil brings us a story of a community of deported vets and how they're working together to offer each other support in the most unlikely of circumstances.
At this cemetery in Madera, California, flags mark the resting places of the town's sons and daughters who've served in the military. Yet some 400 miles away in Tijuana, Mexico, one of Madera's own, former Private First Class Andres de Leon, legally can't even visit the site where he hopes to be laid to rest. Not until he's in a coffin. Did you feel betrayed?
In a way, yes. I feel that they did me wrong because I risked my life for Uncle Sam just so they can, then in the end I get deported.
Yes, a veteran, deported. At 18, in the throes of the Vietnam War, De Leon enlisted in the Army. After 12 years of service, he was honorably discharged.
Okay, this is my home.
Today, at 72, De Leon lives alone in a small one-room house in one of the poorer pockets of Tijuana.
I got no choice. I was deported and I have to stay here. But I'm doing the best I can.
Look, I got the Trump action figure.
No way, that's he.
What does he do? He pretends to be a Republican.
I like bailouts for the banks.
Too big to fail. I gave money to Pelosi, Reid, and Anthony Weiner.
Hey, Hillary, I'll give you money to be my friend.
Check out my house, Mr. Trump. That's a lousy house. I'm gonna take your house with eminent domain and park my limos there. Eminent domain!
We wouldn't tolerate these values in our children. Why would we want them in a president?
Welcome back to Conservative Roundtable. I am your host, Marianne Collins-King, and this evening we have Clint Olivier visiting with us. He is currently the City Council member for District 7, and he is running for the 31st District of the Assembly. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Why are you running? Who are you?
Well, thanks for having me on, Marianne. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on the show.
Thank you.
I like what I've seen so far, so keep it up. I have been on the Fresno City Council for the past 5+ years. Mm-hmm. I represent an area that is around Manchester Center, McLean High School, Roosevelt High School, so I go out into the southeast as well as central Fresno. And we have a lot of problems in that part of town. There's only so much that you can do when you're with the city. You can do curb, gutter, sidewalk, street sweeping, law enforcement, fire protection. But the problems that my neighbors are facing are really too big for us to tackle at the city level. When you're talking about the lack of water in the valley, when you're talking about unemployment that is twice the state average. The 31st Assembly District that I'm running for is the second poorest in the state. And if you include the rotten air quality here, we're looking at the worst Assembly District in the state of California.
Right.
And so I'm running so that I can represent my neighbors and that I can work on a larger scale to address the problems that are affecting our families.
Very good. Now, in reference to the particular district of 31, my understanding that the percentage of Republicans is approximately 28.7% versus the Democrat opponent, which is 48.25. So in terms of that, what will be your strategy in order to speak with the Democratic Party or individuals, so to speak, to perhaps change their mind?
No, absolutely. You know what? This is a special place. The Valley is a special place, and this area of the 31st Assembly is special too. So it's South Fresno, basically everything south of Shields for the most part. Kerman, Mendota, Firebaugh on the west side, Coalinga, and then Parlier, Fowler, Selma, and Kingsburg to the south, and then on the east side, Sanger, Orange Cove, and Del Rey. And so people say, well, Clint, look at the registration, it's a Democrat seat. But it's really not. I mean, if you look at Senator Andy Vidak, his numbers are similar, if not exactly the same. Congressman David Valadeo, his numbers are similar, if not exactly the same. Senator Anthony Cannella, who represents part of that district as well. So you're looking at a group of people who don't vote the party, they vote the candidate. That's why the Democrats are so worried, the Sacramento establishment that don't care about us here in the Central Valley. That's why they're so concerned about me in this race, is because people who live around here will vote the candidate, not the party. And so when you look at the numbers, Andy Vidak outperformed Republican registration. So did David Valadeo. Anthony Cannella outperformed his Republican registration by like 30 points.
Right.
So I love my neighbors. I'm excited about representing them in Sacramento. Democrat, Republican, Independent, folks who are excited about the process, and folks who are jaded as well. I'm really looking forward to getting in there.
Well, I'll have to say, I don't remember experiencing such an exciting local political arena at this point in time, and national. But getting back to your position running for 31, your main opponent is Dr. Joaquin Arambula. Now, what is it that you two agree upon, and what is it that you two are opposed?
Well, I think that Dr. Arambula seems to be a nice person. He's a family person. I don't really know what we agree on. I think that he's interested in doing some economic development, and I am as well. But there are more differences than similarities. And number one is experience. You know, I have been tested. I have been on the Fresno City Council for 5+ years, and it's been a tough assignment, and it is for everyone who gets on there, because you're dealing with $1 billion budget. You're making very important decisions. Of course. I have been lampooned. I have been cartooned. I have been attacked in the paper. I have had letters written about me.
Yes.
Right, but it's easy to throw rocks at someone when you're the newcomer and your opponent has a record. So I think that there are more differences. I think that Dr. Arambula is way too liberal for the district. He's advocating $15 minimum wage. He's advocating single-payer health care. And I don't know of any reason why any conservative would ever consider supporting someone like that. And
why would you think that he would support something like that?
Because he said it on the radio.
But there was no backup as far as the reasoning behind it.
Well, no. I mean, look at the difference. If you wanted to talk about another difference, I don't have to do what the Speaker of the California State Assembly tells me to do.
Right.
I can be independent in that seat. I think that someone in the 31st needs an independent an independent representative up in Sacramento, not somebody who is at the beck and call of the Speaker of the Assembly.
Right.
And this is the whole deal, Marianne. People in Sacramento, people in the Bay Area, people in Los Angeles don't care about us here in the Central Valley. And
I
so,
understand.
and so whoever goes up there has got to be a strong and vociferous advocate for.
And I agree with you on that in reference to, I was born in Southern California, raised in Northern California, very close with several legislators in the San Francisco area. So I understand where they're coming from. And I'll have to agree with you that the Central Valley really isn't on the map of California in their mind. And what's interesting is that they haven't taken the time or made the effort to spend time here to speak with the people as far as what the issues are. And you and I both know, and everyone here in the room on the roundtable, this is an agricultural area.
Yes. Whether you like it or
Bottom
not,
line,
it is.
This is the breadbasket. We are one of the top agricultural areas of the world. And with that being said, water is huge. So share with me your thoughts as far as two things. Storage of water, which has been an issue for decades. And that was my main issue when I moved here. And I was, speaking with a congressperson. I said, I don't understand this. I'm here from the Bay Area. I come out here. What's going on with the water? What's the situation with the storage? So I would like to hear your thoughts on that. And I'd also like to hear your thoughts about the Temperance Flat.
Well, I think that, kind of going back to what you were saying, I know of a grower in our community, and it's Joe Del Bosque.
Yeah.
And Joe does tours.
And he's a friend of mine.
He's fantastic. Yeah. And you know what? His place is out on the west side.
Yes.
He grows a variety of crops, and his farm has become a stop on the circuit for people, politicians looking to be elected to different office.
And the main reason is because President Obama was out there a couple of years ago on Valentine's Day.
Right.
So, yes.
I made my
remember
pilgrimage. Gavin Newsom's been
Yes,
out there.
yes.
Some of the others have been out there. But he'll do tours for state lawmakers.
Right.
And he has had folks come to his farm and say, wow, I've never been to a farm before. What is that? Or how does that work?
And that's exactly what I'm talking
Right,
about.
right. But it doesn't answer your question, so I'll answer your question.
Okay, so we're talking storage and we're talking Temperance Flat, because these are two main issues that are near and dear to my heart, near and dear to the hearts of my legislative friends and colleagues. So I would like to hear what you have to say as far as a plan.
I think that
A vision and a plan, that's what I like to hear.
well, I think that a good start, a lot of folks are beginning to sign the new petition. The Secretary of State has just approved the language, and the petitions have been prepared and are being signed right now. What this would do is it would take $8 billion from high-speed rail and move that over into for water storage.
And that's been a big issue, because for so long, as many of the viewers may or may not know, the main allocation of funding was the issue. That there was an allocation of funding for the water situation, allocation of funding for high-speed rail. So, high-speed rail has a high price tag.
Yes, it does.
So, and I understand that, and myself being from the Bay Area, I recognize it's not easy to get here. It would be great to have some form of transportation that would be quicker and more efficient, and I understand that. I'm concerned about the price tag, obviously, and several people that I'm close to that do work in politics support it, and I understand that. But, there's so many different threads and facets about it. The cost.
No, and it's not funded. There's no money for it. But I think that this, you asked me about water storage. You asked me about Temperance Flat. I think, we can talk about.
So they were able to. Reallocate the
that's
funds.
what they're trying to do,
Yes.
and we'll see.
And
What it would do is it would make
they're in the process of it.
Exactly, it would change if adopted by voters. It would change the state constitution to move that money over from high-speed rail to water, allocate it for water storage. Would also change the state constitution to prioritize agricultural and urban uses for water and ahead of environmental uses for water. So I think it would be great to see on the ballot and let the people have a chance to vote on it.
Right.
And the reason why I'm answering your question by saying that I do support this this petition, I'm signing it.
The process of
is because I think that this is the next debate that we're going to hear And you're going to see Democrats signing on to support this. You know, Gavin Newsom, the lieutenant governor, is opposed to high-speed rail. You're going to see Republicans, of course, supporting it. Folks from the ag community, because this is a great way to assert ourselves here in the Central Valley, and also get buy-in from folks in LA. Obviously, people want you know, to have the urban water use prioritized down there, and so I think that this is going to be part of the next debate as folks come on here and signatures are gathered and it gets actually on the ballot. You're going to hear a lot more about it.
So, what would be your plan for storage? What would be your strategy as far as this is what we need to do?
Well, I think that Henry T. Perea, he's the assembly member that was in office right before me.
Yes.
And
this is why it's a special election.
Right, because I think that Henry T. did an excellent job of getting us to the point where we're at right now, which is
the water bond, that language was written, the water bond was passed. And now that Henry T. is gone, the next assembly member is going to have to work with the people in the state assembly to educate them and make sure that water is prioritized. Now, of that water bond, it's $2.7 billion that are for temperance flat. That money is for water storage.
Okay, good.
And so it's just a question of working with others in Sacramento, working with the administration to make sure that that is the ultimate result. Of course, there will be lawsuits and environmental groups who will take issue with the construction of something like that.
Right, especially in the Bay Area.
But I think that I think I'm ready to work with Democrats and other Republicans to make sure that that gets done.
And it really is a bipartisan situation.
Absolutely.
It's water. I mean,
absolutely.
If one was not does not have the political acumen or understand, it makes sense to understand we all need to share our water. So, with that being said, we're going to wrap this up. Okay. In say 2 seconds.
Yes.
3 seconds.
Yes.
Why will we vote for you?
Vote for me because I have the experience to get the job done, and I'm not afraid to be a very loud advocate for my neighbors.
Very good. Thank you so much, Clint. We
Thanks
appreciate you being on the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
I mean, hey, I lived in New York City and Manhattan all my life, okay? So, you know, my views are a little bit different than if I lived in Iowa.
They are different, like on abortion.
Would President Trump ban partial birth abortion?
Well, look, I am pro-choice in every respect.
And what does Trump think about Iowa?
How stupid are the people of Iowa?
Donald Trump, New York values, not ours.
You know, my views are a little bit different than if I lived in Iowa.
I'm Ted Cruz, and I approve this message.
And there's your beautiful baby.
Any day now. Really? You're eating Doritos? He's eating Doritos on my ultrasound. Do you see what I have to do?
I know.
Give me that.
Deported U.S. military veterans. It almost sounds like an oxymoron, but believe it or not, a large number of former military service men and women have been deported. Tonight in a Fox 40 special report, Joe Khalil brings us a story of a community of deported vets and how they're working together to offer each other support in the most unlikely of circumstances.
At this cemetery in Madera, California, flags mark the resting places of the town's sons and daughters who served in the military. Yet some 400 miles away in Tijuana, Mexico, one of Madera's own, former Private First Class Andres de Leon, legally can't even visit the site where he hopes to be laid to rest. Not until he's in a coffin.
Did you feel betrayed?
In a way, yes. I feel that they did me wrong because I risked my life for Uncle Sam just so they can, and then, in the end, I get deported.
Yes, a veteran, deported. At 18, in the throes of the Vietnam War, De Leon enlisted in the Army. After 12 years of service, he was honorably discharged.
Okay, this is my home.
Today, at 72, De Leon lives alone in a small one-room house in one of the poorer pockets of Tijuana.
I got no choice. I was deported and I have to stay here. But I'm doing the best I can.
The path that led De Leon to this point begins where his story will end, in Madera, California, with his family.
He wants to come home with his kids, his grandkids, the family.
De Leon's sister Elizabeth worries about his health. He's a type 2 diabetic.
That worries me very much, that something might happen to my brother and I'm going to be torn apart.
Their parents came to Madera legally from Mexico when De Leon was 12. The veteran's most trying battle wouldn't be waged until decades later, following the death of his mother.
He would take my mom everywhere. That really pushed him to the edge.
De Leon fell into a deep depression, and at age 63, he got hooked on heroin. Eventually arrested for possession, he served almost 3 years. Near the end of his term at Soledad State Prison, Immigration Customs Enforcement agents told him he wouldn't be returning home.
I said, what? He said, they're going to deport me. I said, no, they can't.
October 2009, an immigration judge ordered De Leon deported to Mexico, a country he hadn't seen in more than 50 years.
I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that they would deport a veteran with an honorable discharge.
3 generations later, all these De Leons have of their grandfather are stories.
How old is your youngest son now?
He's now 8 years old.
So in his 8 years, he's never...
He's never seen him, he's never spoke to him, he's never held his hand.
In Tijuana, De Leon had no friends, no family. He spent his first few weeks homeless. If you knew that you were going to be deported, would you have enlisted at all in the military?
I don't think so. No, you're going to did me wrong, no.
De Leon assumed he was the only U.S. military veteran deported to Tijuana until he met Hector Barajas.
I basically opened up my doors for veterans that were deported.
A former paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne, Hector, who grew up in L.A., was also living deported in Tijuana and knew dozens of veterans like De Leon. In 2013, he founded this deported veterans support house.
We believe that none of these men should be left behind. We talk about supporting the troops. Let's keep supporting these men, treat these men with honor.
There are an estimated 100,000 people deported from the U.S. living in Tijuana right now. Now, there's no government agency that keeps track of how many of those people are veterans. Hector just anecdotally thinks that there are a couple of hundred, if not more than 1,000. 15 vets have come through the support house so far for food, temporary housing, sometimes just to feel they belong. Do you feel like you're a family here?
Something like that, yes.
Are you here every day?
Yeah, well, yeah, just about.
De Leon is resigned to the possibility that he may never again see the United States. But both he and Hector know they're entitled to a proper veterans burial.
I've been told that the only way I can return is dead. So if dead is the only way I can return, I would like to be buried with my friends in the Catholic Cemetery of Madera, California.
Why would they honor us only when we die? They're going to give an American flag to our families and say thank you for your service to your country. If you want to honor our men, you want to honor our veterans, let them get their treatment, let them live with their families.
Both Hector and the De Leon family continue to fight for deported veterans' rights, hoping that the next time they see De Leon on American soil, it won't have to be here. Joe Khalil, Fox 40 News.
We reached out to Immigration Customs Enforcement. Because of privacy concerns, a spokesman said they cannot comment on any specific cases. But they acknowledge immigration judges do take
someone's military service into account when deciding to deport someone. In a statement, ICE says in part, and I quote them here, any action taken by ICE that may result in the removal of an alien with military service must be authorized by the senior leadership.
CentralValleyTalk.com
Welcome back to Conservative Roundtable. I am Marianne Collins King, your host, and on the line today via Skype we have Gonzalo Ferrer. Gonzalo is the national chairman of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. Welcome, Gonzalo.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being with us this evening. Gonzalo, would you take a moment to share with us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and then please share with us more information in regard to your organization?
Right now, I am a U.S. citizen, originally from Argentina. I'm currently an attorney and a CPA, and I'm the national chairman of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. Our organization was founded actually almost 50 years ago. The start of the organization, purpose at the start of the organization, only purpose was to get the Hispanic and Latino population to get involved in the political process of the USA. At first, most of the founders were leaning Democrat, but they organized a conservative movement, which is now the Republican National Hispanic Assembly.
Now, how long has the organization been in existence?
From about 1973.
1973.
Right.
So when the organization began, the genesis, you had indicated most of the members, so to speak, were on the other side of the pond, Democratic in nature. What?
Well, Democratic leaning, but not really true Democrats, because they were conservative in nature.
Okay.
So basically, it's a little bit the situation we have a little bit today, that a lot of conservative Hispanics are Democratic leaning for different reasons.
Right.
So this would be a unique opportunity to really bring the Hispanic vote to the conservatives in the USA and increase the Hispanic participation. We have a tremendous opportunity. The Hispanic vote can really change today the American political landscape.
Absolutely.
If today most Hispanics in California decided to vote Republican, the elections are over for all practical purposes. And the same would occur if the Hispanics in Texas would decide tomorrow to vote Democrat. So we have a tremendous power, and we want to make people aware of that power and to really increase the participation of Latino vote in the political process, which is actually our ultimate goal, along with the promotion of conservative values, because most Hispanics are conservative by nature.
Right. Yes. And in what way are you able to reach the Hispanic members? Do you have events? Is it on the web? What is your means of communication with them?
Well, we have chapters throughout the states, and some of the chapters are very active locally in local politics and get involved with elections and particular candidates. And they are really a vehicle for them to network and really promote Hispanics within the political environment.
So there's various chapters with the organization, and this is nationwide, correct?
Nationwide.
Very good. And how many chapters are there currently? Do you know?
Some parts, right now we have about 24 active chapters, of which the Illinois chapter is one of the most active, along with the Texas chapter. Actually, the Lieutenant Governor of Illinois is actually a member of our organization.
Very good. Very good. Now, my understanding is this. I briefly looked at the website, and I love the tagline that indicates hard work, faith, and family. And to me, that speaks to my heart as an American, and I know it speaks to the heart of many of the members of the Hispanic community that are conservative in nature. So we have about 1 minute to go, Gonzalo. What message would you like to convey to our viewers about the National Hispanic Assembly?
Well, the Republican National Hispanic Assembly is is a movement that wants to be all-inclusive. It wants to be a vehicle for Hispanics to participate in politics and to really promote fundamental values of our society, like family and all the other conservative values as private property, freedom of enterprise, and freedom of religion, basically.
Yes, very good. All right. Well, thank you very much, Gonzalo. We appreciate your time this evening, and we look forward to following up with you and also with the National Hispanic Assembly. Have a nice evening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Everybody's got to be covered. This is an un-Republican thing for me to say.
Universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody.
Well, who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it. The government's going to pay for it. This tax would raise approximately $5.7 trillion. In many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat. I hate the concept of guns. I'm not in favor of it.
Why are you joining the Reform Party?
I really believe the Republicans are just too crazy right. I mean, hey, I lived in New York City and Manhattan all my life, okay? So, you know, my views are a little bit different than if I lived in Iowa, perhaps.
Partial birth abortion. Would President Trump ban partial birth abortion?
Well, look, I'm very pro-choice.
But you would not ban it?
No.
Or ban partial birth abortion?
No, I am pro-choice in every respect.
This is an un-Republican thing for me to say.
Who do you think would be the best qualified to make a deal with Iran?
Hillary's always surrounded herself with very good people. I think Hillary would do a good job.
Make a deal with Iran.
Well, I think Hillary would do a good job.
Nancy Pelosi, the speaker.
And I'm very impressed by her. I think she's a very impressive person. I like her a lot. She was going to really look to impeach Bush and get him out of office, which personally I think would have been a wonderful thing.
Impeaching him?
I thought he did a great job tonight. I thought he was strong and smart, and it looks like we have somebody that knows what he's doing. And it's a strong guy who really knows what he wants, and this is what we need.
Hillary's a great friend of mine. Her husband is a great friend of mine. I think Hillary is going to take it, and I think Hillary is very, very capable. I'm very pro-choice, a liberal in health care.
Universal health coverage.
I like universal.
As far as single payer, it works in Canada. It works incredibly well in Scotland.
It just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans.
Donald Trump and I both agree that there ought to be more taxation.
What do you think of eminent domain?
I think it's a wonderful thing. I'll be honest with you.
For people that have been here for years, that have, been hard workers, have good jobs, are supporting a family, it's very, very tough to just say, you have to leave, get out. How do you throw somebody out that's lived in this country for 20 years? You just can't throw everybody out.
He was basically a Democrat, and he was supportive of Democrats. He was supportive of a lot of the causes that, I cared about and that people I knew cared about.
Look, I got the Trump action figure. No way, that's huge. What does he do? He pretends to be a Republican. I like bailouts for the banks. Too big to fail. I gave money to Pelosi, Reid, and Anthony Weiner. Hey, Hillary, I'll give you money to be my friend. Check out my house, Mr. Trump. That's a lousy house. I'm gonna take your house with eminent domain and park my limos there. Eminent domain!
We wouldn't tolerate these values in our children. Why would we want them in a president?
Eminent domain!
Welcome back to Conservative Roundtable. I'm Marianne Collins-King, your host. And this evening via Skype, we have Steve Von Loor. Steve is the second vice chairman of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. Welcome to the show tonight, Steve.
Thank you for having me, Marianne.
How are you this evening?
Very good. After a snowstorm in North Carolina, we are getting better.
Oh my goodness. North Carolina is one of my favorite states in the United States, and I'm sorry to hear about the snow. We're in 70-degree weather right now in Fresno, California.
Yeah, we are not used to the snow, but we get through it.
Yes, I bet. I just spoke with Gonzalo Ferrer, and we briefly touched on the National Hispanic Assembly. And he was sharing with me that there are several chapters amongst the United States. And would you mind refreshing our memory as far as how many chapters are there?
Actively, we have about 25. Since I was appointed for second vice chairman, I've been finding and searching new talent around the nation to open new chapters.
Okay.
We have created 50 Facebook pages
Wonderful.
for all the states. So we are reaching out. We are trying to get an army of grassroots to get to the Hispanic community so they can vote Republican on this election.
Now, this is something that would be very helpful to our viewers. In terms of the Hispanic community considering voting Republican, I know many of my friends who happen to be Hispanic descent, they're Democrat or of another party, and I respect them very much. But what is it that you say, or the organization, what do they share with the members or individuals who attend your events? What is the message to them as far as why they would consider voting on more of a conservative level?
Well, let me tell you that the issue that most of the Hispanic community are registered Democrat is because the Democrats, they've been playing the image of the nice people to us. But that is not true. They've been lying to us. I was lied. I was registered as a Democrat because when I came to the U.S. back in 1998, they asked me where I was coming from. And when they asked me if I was a Democrat or Republican, I said, I don't know. And they said, well, son, if you know the word democracy, that means freedom. And that's why you have to be a Democrat. So they registered me at that moment as a Democrat. Passing through the years, that's when I find out it was a lie. They lied to us. Hispanics are conservative, and we believe the same principles as the Republican Party.
Now, I briefly looked at the website, and the organization itself is to foster the principles of the Republican Party. It's a forum to project the influence within the local, state, and national activities, and that's via the chapters. Now, when you indicate to me that these individuals state to you that you need to file Democrat because this is the way it is, that's what it sounds like to me. When is it that you decided that you wanted to file as a Republican citizen of the United States? What was your defining moment?
The defining moment was when the Democratic agenda started going against the religious liberty. They start supporting more of the abortions. And as Christians, we don't support abortions. They are a crime. So that is why I decided that it was an open up for me to realize that I was a Republican. And when I talked to the Hispanic community, I explained these views, and they realized that we, as Hispanic Americans, we are leaning more Republican because of the principles.
Very good. So the main issue would be the pro-life situation. Is that correct?
Well, it would be, it's the pro-life. It is, we believe in God. We believe that hard work is going to take us far more than living from the government. And any Hispanic American coming to the U.S., they don't come looking to live off the government. They come here to work hard and succeed in life.
That's right.
To prosper for their families or for themselves.
And they have core values, strong family ties, and they have a high level of ethics as far as morality.
Exactly.
And, also bringing a great amount of faith with them as well to the United States, which is, that's what we were founded upon. This country is founded upon Judeo-Christian belief system, which means, yes, it's founded upon that, but we're also very open to various religions. But the reality is that we're very conservative in our views. So the Hispanics that do move to America, I have so much respect for them as far as bringing their very deep faith, which I'm a very faithful woman myself, so I respect that, and I'm very grateful.
That's the same ideas we have at the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, and we are having a good acceptance from the community. They are realizing that we were by the Democrats.
Very good. All right. Okay, so one last word. We're going to wrap this up. Steve, what is the last message you would like to share with our viewers about the organization?
Well, our organization is looking for new talent, new leaders, and we want to grow our membership. You need to go to our website, rnhanational.org.
Perfect.
And register. We are waiving the membership for a year, and it's going to be a great turnaround if we have more Hispanic Americans involved in politics, so we can elect a president that is going to help America.
Yes, this is a very pressing year, so thank you very much for all of your efforts. It's very appreciated, and thank you for being on the show this evening, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and you guys have a great night.
You too. God bless.
You too. Take care.
I understand that when the mainstream media covers immigration, it doesn't often see it as an economic issue. But I can tell you it is a very personal economic issue. And I will say the politics of it would be very, very different if a bunch of lawyers or bankers were crossing the Rio Grande. Or if a bunch of people with journalism degrees were coming over and driving down the wages in the press. Then we would see stories about the economic calamity that is befalling our nation. If I'm elected president, we will triple the Border Patrol. We will build a wall that works. We will secure the border. I'm Ted Cruz, and I...
And there's your beautiful baby.
Any day now. Really? You're eating Doritos? He's eating Doritos on my ultrasound. Do you see what I have to do?
I know.
Give me that.
Deported U.S. military veterans. It almost sounds like an oxymoron, but believe it or not, a large number of former military service men and women have been deported. Tonight in a Fox 40 special report, Joe Khalil brings us a story of a community of deported vets and how they're working together to offer each other support in the most unlikely of circumstances.
At this cemetery in Madera, California, flags mark the resting places of the town's sons and daughters who served in the military. Yet some 400 miles away in Tijuana, Mexico, one of Madera's own, former Private First Class Andres de Leon, legally can't even visit the site where he hopes to be laid to rest. Not until he's in a coffin.
Did you feel betrayed?
In a way, yes. I feel that they did me wrong because I risked my life for Uncle Sam just so they can then, in the end.
Everybody's got to be covered. This is an un-Republican thing for me to say.
Universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody.
Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it. The government's going to pay for it. This tax would raise approximately $5.7 trillion. In many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat. I hate the concept of guns. I'm not in favor of it.
Why are you joining the Reform Party?
I really believe the Republicans are just too crazy right. I mean, hey, I lived in New York City and Manhattan all my life, okay? So, you know, my views are a little bit different than if I lived in Iowa, perhaps.
Partial birth abortion. Would President Trump ban partial birth abortion?
Well, look, I'm very pro-choice.
But you would not ban it?
No.
Or ban partial birth abortion?
No, I would. I am pro-choice in every respect. This is an un-Republican thing for me to say.
Who do you think would be the best qualified to make a deal with Iran?
Hillary's always surrounded herself with very good people. I think Hillary would do a good job.
Welcome back to Conservative Roundtable. I'm Marianne Collins-King, your host. And on the line this evening via Skype, we have Fernando Romero. He is the president of Hispanics in Politics. Hello, Fernando. How are you this evening? We're going to take a quick break. We have some technical difficulties.
Deported U.S. military veterans. It almost sounds like an oxymoron, but believe it or not, a large number of former military service men and women have been deported. Tonight in a Fox 40 special report, Joe Khalil brings us a story of a community of deported vets and how they're working together to offer each other support in the most unlikely of circumstances.
At this cemetery in Madera, California, flags mark the resting places of the town's sons and daughters who served in the military. Yet some 400 miles away in Tijuana, Mexico, one of Madera's
Welcome back to Conservative Roundtable. I am Marianne Collins-King, your host. And on the line this evening, we have Fernando Romero. He is the president of Hispanics in Politics, and we are speaking with him this evening via Skype. Hello, Fernando. How are you this evening?
I am doing very well, somewhat a little exhausted. A lot of activity going on here in Las Vegas. As you may know, there's a few individuals roaming around.
Oh, yes.
Knocking on doors and making phone calls.
I can imagine. Well, this evening, we want to learn a little bit more about you. We would like to learn much more about Hispanics in Politics, this amazing organization, very well respected. And then also, we want to hear about the big event tomorrow. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Fernando.
Yeah, well, first of all, Hispanics in Politics is a 35-year-old organization, political organization. We're the oldest Hispanic political organization in Nevada. And we were founded as the political arm of the Latin Chamber of Commerce. And in 1995, we broke off. And we've been having for the past 20 years, on the first Wednesday of the month, breakfasts in which we invite political figures to address our organization. And during election cycles, such as now, we have our meetings on the first and the third Wednesday of the month. And this month, tomorrow, the third Wednesday, we've invited all the surrogates of the presidential candidates who will all be present, except for one. Unfortunately, Donald Trump's state director was not able to make it. He said he had a couple of other commitments and was not able to send a surrogate or come himself. But we have individuals that will be coming speaking for the candidates. That would include, by the way, Henry Cisneros, who will be here on behalf of Hillary Clinton. And we also have a gentleman by the name of Rocky de la Fuente from San Diego. Yes, San Diego, and he will be here himself. He is a candidate for the presidency, and apparently he's running into a couple of walls that don't allow him to be on any of the debates or what have you. In fact, in the state of Nevada, I understand he will be under the title of other. But nonetheless, we're giving Rocky a chance to speak his piece and join us. And we're very fortunate, too, in that we have many national publications, newspapers that are wanting to know what's going on. So they will send representatives, and I'm talking about the Wall Street Journal, the San Francisco Chronicle, the Washington Post. They will join us and see what it's all about.
Excellent.
But yeah, everybody's pretty excited about it.
That's wonderful. Good activity. As I was mentioning earlier this evening, I don't remember a time where the political atmosphere has been so unique. Do you remember a time like this? It's really something else.
We are, I think our organization is quite unique in that we are possibly one of the only, if not the only organizations that's been able to join hands or have individuals from both sides of the aisle join us. Our organization, which is fairly large, I never give a figure, but it's very large, and we have a very eclectic membership that includes U.S. congressmen, political figures in Nevada. We have union members, we have lay persons, and we have home engineers and students. Our memberships are from 18 years old on up, and it's composed of 51% Democrats and 49% Republicans.
That's a pretty,
you can't get too much
balanced.
better than that.
Right. Now, during your lifetime, what pulled you to become more involved in politics? What was, as I had asked other people, when was your defining moment when Fernando said, this is a path that I would like to take?
Well, you're talking almost 40 years ago. I've been in Nevada for the past 49 years. And what happened is back when a gentleman by the name of Harry Reid was running for lieutenant governor for the state of Nevada. And he knocked on our door. I was not yet with Hispanics in politics. Obviously, it was not formed yet. We didn't form until 1980. But nonetheless, that's when the bug hit me as far as being involved in helping others, volunteering, working as a campaign strategist, etc. But I blame Harry Reid for that. What can I tell you?
So he got you involved in this pretty major feat as far as Hispanics in politics.
Exactly, and let me say that when we first started there in the state of Nevada, probably and let's say the county of Clark, which is southern Nevada, where Vegas is, there were only possibly maybe 35,000 individuals, Latinos, at the time.
Right.
We now number of 740,000.
That's amazing.
In Clark County.
740,000?
Latinos, yes.
Yes. That's an amazing membership, I'll have to say. That's quite a number.
Well, it's the fastest growing Hispanic population in the country.
Yes.
Here in Nevada. And we pride ourselves in that. And I am very enthused as to the way the young people are getting involved. They are really out there trying as hard as they can to make a difference. I think they will make a difference. So to me, who has been here for all those years and just going everywhere trying to get people involved, and now I see all this involvement and enthused involvement, I might add, and it makes it exciting. I see, as I said a while ago, people just hustling, making phone calls, knocking on doors, passing out pamphlets and postcards and the like. Again, I've never seen anything like it. Not as active as this time around.
Right. Now, in this day and age, with, let's say, for example, a new generation of voters, the method in which they communicate is more social media, texting, that type of thing, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. So do you have armies of folks who are reaching out to the youth in reference to your organization?
We're reaching out to everyone, including the youth, of course. The youth, are so into it that it energizes everyone. I see, in fact, even on both sides of the aisle, I see young people get involved with Marco Rubio, for example, who speaks about new generation. I see them get involved with Marco being the youngest of all the candidates, and of course with Bernie Sanders being the oldest, more matured individual of all the candidates. And the young people are just as involved in one camp as they are with the other.
Yes. And that's what's very important as far as attracting our youth to become involved and become engaged. So in reference to that, what do you think Hispanics in Politics, your organization, is doing different than any other type of organization in the United States as far as attracting young people to vote and become engaged?
Well, simply in informing them and the public in general as to what's going on. But I'll be very honest with you. It's more the respective camps that are really bringing them in. They're giving them something to do, and we are helping as much as we can in supporting that effort. But I have to give credit, in essence, to the various organizations, campaigns that are really wising up, if you will, in getting young people involved and making them count and getting the attaboys that they deserve.
Right.
So I think it's a network that whether by hook or crook is working, and I'm like I said, I'm elated.
Wonderful. Now, before we wrap it up this evening, I understand there's a big event tomorrow morning. Would you like to share that information with our viewers?
Well, it's at a Mexican restaurant where we've been going for 20 years, Doña Maria Tamales downtown. And it's at, the doors open at 7:15 in the morning, and the program actually starts at 8 o'clock. It only lasts 1 hour.
Okay.
But it moves fast, and everything gets said, everything gets done, and it's open to the public. There is a charge of $15 at the door, but we serve a great Mexican buffet that includes the world famous Doña Maria Tamales.
That sounds delicious. You're making me hungry.
Me too.
Maybe I'll fly out there and meet you. That sounds wonderful. Well, I want to say thank you so much for all of your efforts with Hispanics in Politics. It's such an amazing organization. Thank you for everything, and thank you for your time this evening, Fernando.
Thank you for your interest. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Take care. God bless.
Thank you. Good night.